Okay, so I get a lot of questions about what arrows I shoot for hunting, and I just wanted to run over my entire 2024 arrow build that I'll be bow hunting with this year. So the arrow itself is an Easton Axis LR 340 spine, and on the business end I'm running G5 dead meats, hunter grain. It's a 3-blade expandable. I've got the aluminum insert-outsert system on the end of it. For vanes, I run the Boeing Black Sky vanes. These are a newer addition to what I've been running in the last few years. These are a blazer vane profile, but they're the stiffer material of the heat vanes. They have the same material as the heat vanes, if you're familiar with those. So they're a lot quieter, they're a lot stiffer. And so far I really like them. The reason I use Boeing vanes is you can just see they're not going anywhere. You can pull on these with pliers, whatever you want, they're not going to go anywhere. So, and then on the very end for a knock, I'm running an Easton G knock on the end there. So overall my arrow weight is 400 grains. I think it's actually 399.7. I weighed a couple of them last night, and I generally been, with my draw length, I've been between 400 and 415 grains pretty much my entire bow hunting career. So it's on the lighter side from what probably mainstream bow hunting is right now, but I really don't care how much the arrow weighs. I really care about accuracy and where it hits. So as long as it hits behind the pin, I am pleased with it, and I don't really get into that FOC heavy arrow BS because I don't really think that that's the most accurate system for me. So but that's my arrow build. It's very, very forgiving. I love these G5 dead meats. I've shot, gosh, I don't know how many animals I've shot with them, but it's quite a few. They're very, very quiet, and they're very accurate. You can see there's just a super low profile, very, very similar to a field point, and they're just whisper quiet. There's no hissing to them. There's nothing like that you would get with a fixed blade that has some ventilation in it. So they're very, very quiet, and yeah, I love them. They're very, very accurate. They hit behind the pin. So that's my arrow setup. I'm finding a little bit better arrow flight and grouping out of these compared to a regular blazer vane. So for guys that run blazer vanes, which blazer vanes are like the most popular vane in the world, check these out. They're pretty sweet. They're a little bit quieter, which is never a bad idea in bow hunting. A little bit stiffer. I think you'll get a little better arrow flight out of them. So check those out. They're on Boeing's website. Okay, so fletching arrows and building an entire arrow. I've got a few left that I haven't built yet. So I just want to show you kind of how I build them start to finish. So I have my own arrow saw. I've already cut these down. From there, what I do, I forgot this, but if you don't have an arrow square, you should get one. So you take an arrow square, run your arrow in, and even out the edges. No arrow saw is completely perfect, so if you run it through a square, you're going to get a nice consistent squared up end. You don't have to worry about sacrificing any accuracy on the business end of the arrow. So we from there we'll go with the insert. I use hot melt on almost every arrow build that I do. That includes target. And so we will grab a pair of pliers, get a good grip on it. Be careful with this part, it's an open flame. So you don't want to get it too hot, and it will heat up really, really quick. But this is just hot melt from Boeing. The blue stick is for carbon arrows. The kind of orange bronze stick is for aluminum arrows. So if you use the bronze stick and carbon arrows, the inserts will fall out. And I don't go too light on the hot melt. I like to get that entire insert coated there, like that. Okay, so we've got our plain shaft here. We're just gonna slide that in and start it, and then take it, push it in on that edge. Make sure you push it in good and steady. Don't touch that glue, it's very hot. Let it cool off. Like that. It usually takes a few seconds for it to cool off. But like that. And then I usually just take like a washcloth or something like that and clean it off, or a paper towel. You can use your fingers too. So now we have our insert firmly glued in, it's squared off, and you can push it and then it'll kind of set in after it dries, cools off. So from there, I fletch with a Bitzenberg. I've used a Bitzenberg pretty much my entire career. I don't have anything against any other fletching jig. It's just, this is what I'm comfortable with, so it's what I use. It's a little bit slower. You have to do one vein at a time, but for me, that's not a huge deal. So vein clearance is also a big deal when you're fletching arrows. There's marks here. I've been fletching 1, 2, 3, 4 marks in. So I'll take the vein, run it back to that 4th mark. Try to get it as accurate as you can, like that. And then from there, we're gonna take some glue and I just kind of dot it on the center of the vein. I don't like to go too heavy, but I don't like to go too light either. If you go a little too heavy, you can end up with a lot of slop on the actual shaft. Okay, from there, run the magnet. Sorry, I gotta do this backwards so the camera can see, but you run your edge all the way back against that wall. Make sure that your shaft is in a good spot there. And boom. Give it a little bit. Just like that. We're gonna do that times 3, so we'll rotate the Bitzenberg. I run a 3 fletch. You can run this as a 4 fletch if you want. All right, now that I've showed you what arrow I'm shooting for 2024 and how I build them, let's have some fun. I was at the grocery store this morning and I thought I should test my setup on penetration. So here's some pork ribs taped to a watermelon. I'm really interested to see what happens when I shoot my arrow through this target. That should look pretty good. Good. Well, we just shot our broadhead and arrow. It sounded like it completely water bugs grab it. So we've got high hit right here. You can see that's a huge cut. And then another high hit right here. Didn't hit it perfect, but came out and then still kept going into my little backup target here. This is just full of carpet and wood chips. I just use this for target practice. Not supposed to shoot broadheads into it, but kept going. And let's see what that did. So cut that up really bad too. Don't want to break a blade coming back out, but anyways, full deployment. I've shot these heads for quite a while, killed a lot of animals with them. I'm very confident in them. It's a dead meat, 100-grain broadhead. Absolute carnage. All 3 blades did deploy. And then on the other side, all 3 blades deployed as well. That's a pretty big gash, I would say. So, safe to say, I think my 2024 setup is good and ready, and I feel really confident with that. I had no idea what was actually going to happen, so I feel really good about that.